This is Dr. Rob Ward, and I'd like to welcome you to drrobwebinar.com. For the next several minutes, we're going to take a journey in understanding the science of redox biochemistry, which is essentially the science of healing. My background is as a family practitioner. I've been in clinical practice for over 30 years. I have backgrounds in functional medicine and addiction medicine as well. And I also serve as the volunteer chairman of the ASEA Science Advisory Council. The world of redox biochemistry is an exploding field of science. There are textbooks, medical journals, conferences that can be attended. This is a huge area of science, and the reason for this explosion has to do with the fact that it applies to all areas of biology. Redox signaling technology is really destined to fuel some of the greatest advances in medical science this century. It's fundamental to all biological multicellular processes, plants, animals, bacteria. It's non-specific, non-toxic, and applicable to a broad range of processes and pathways in all kinds of physiology. It's at the very core of mediating and regulating mechanisms that restore functionality and health to cells. So, how do our cells work, and how does this new science apply to understanding cells better? Here's a cross-section of a human cell, and as you can see, it's an intricate combination of machines and machinery that serves to help to hold together and operate this basic building block of our body. Cells have these machines that help the cell defend itself and replace itself and regulate itself. But there are three main areas of cell physiology where redox chemistry comes into play. The signaling equipment involves our antioxidants. These are complicated molecules that help defend ourselves from toxins, eliminate free radicals, and help shield against a variety of threats. Additionally, there are membrane transport systems on our cell membrane. We can call them a mailbox that help allow for the infusion of oxygen and food and the release of waste products and metabolites. Additionally, cells need to signal one another. There's a complex and intricate system of communication. We can call it cell phones. And this communication allows for cells to communicate their status to one another, and send emergency messages to call out for help from the immune system, for example. Communication is critical to the health and life of a cell. So redox signaling molecules activate the effectiveness of our antioxidants and upregulate their production. Redox signaling molecules lubricate these channels of input and output through the cell wall and improve the efficiency of travel of these materials. And redox signaling molecules improve the capacity of the communication systems for cells so that they're working at optimal levels and there's no dropped calls or bad messages. So, healthy cells lead to healthy tissue, which leads to overall health. And so we can extrapolate this to the whole body. Health is equivalent to healing for a variety of reasons. Our cells are damaged every day. So there has to be a way to handle and deal with that damage, whether it be chemicals or infections or ultraviolet damage. This happens every day, all the time. Additionally, we have injuries, minor injuries, cuts and scrapes, damage millions of cells, and they have to be repaired or replaced. Additionally, we also see that exercise and exertion can damage cells. That's where that achy tenderness comes from. So cellular healing is equivalent to health. And without the cellular healing process, we would not be able to live. In fact, if our body failed to be able to manufacture any of these little redox signaling molecules, we would be dead within hours. Healing is at the very heart of our health, and all health problems, any disease you can think of, is linked to damaged cells. So where do these little redox molecules come from? Well, they come from within every single cell. Our cells have, in our machinery, we have little tiny mitochondria. These are structures that produce energy. So a cell takes in food and it converts food into ATP through the Krebs cycle, that process of oxidative phosphorylation. As a side product of the production of energy, redox signaling molecules are generated. Now there's two kinds. One have a positive charge, one have a negative charge. The negative charge is called a reduced species. The positive charge is called a reactive oxygen species. So these are produced in every cell. Some cells have thousands of mitochondria, some have just a few. When they're produced, if there is an over amount or an imbalance in some way, glutathione has a way of breaking down these excess molecules to allow for the maintenance of homeostasis. And of course, glutathione is primarily located near the nucleus, a very important protected area of our cell. So in a healthy cell, you can see that we have homeostasis, a balance of these two different kinds of redox molecules. And as a result, we've got everything working in a physiologic balance. In a damaged cell, redox signaling messengers are out of balance, and here you're seeing evidence of oxidative stress that's occurred, and there's an abundance of the red triangles, the reactive oxygen species. These are leading to damage to the cell membrane, which is very critical, as well as to the nucleus, which could cause a complete breakdown in the cell function. And so this damage needs to be contended with. So in healthy tissue, redox signaling is in homeostatic balance. We've now got a multitude of cells that are now in balance. Where there's oxidative stress, this would signal a repair, replace, or protection process. And so there's a burst, perhaps from an injury or an infection, and this is signaling trouble. So the cell group of tissues here have to decide what they're going to do about it. That particular cell decided to replace itself, and a neighboring cell comes in and fills in the gap to promote better health for the tissue.